so it's not a big deal.
Should we
Nice.
do
My
should we
thing
do a
just,
break? Should we do a break? A break.
Oh yeah, we could. Actually, I love those breaks. That's the move. That was my favorite part of my old podcast. Putting the breaks in.
Yeah, we'll just put a break somewhere and then continue. You can edit it some fucking song.
That's what we should do. We should have pre-made breaks. Like our soundboard should consist entirely of like clips of us walking out of the room to like pee. Like
and just you could hear like the piss sound. That'd be fucking hilarious.
yeah.
ASMR pissing.
Yeah, or like have like an argument, like you and your girlfriend in the background.
You're like
right out of
lightly,
earshot.
Like, babe, what are you doing?
You're
On the
lightly
gay
feathering
podcast.
the tip of your penis, so there's like a sort of undulation going to the stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can pick that up. You can hear that.
What's the song that Kanye was jerking off on at the end of?
What?
There's a song that Kanye's jerking off at the end of.
Wait, what?
I've never heard of this. What the fuck?
Wait 1 second. Yeah, he's jerking off at the end.
I'm literally googling Kanye jerking off song. What?
What song is it?
I mean, I feel like it's every song.
Dude,
Dude, I heard this funny thing. Like Kanye, he will put on hardcore porn on like the TV in the studio, like
Oh my
just
God.
just as like ambient, like you know,
ambient fucking.
just as like ambient, like just something to have on the screen. He'll just put on hardcore porn,
Oh my god.
like in the studio. Like they're like writing lyrics. He'll just like have it on the screen. Hilarious.
That's funny.
Which is based.
Yeah, it's based in a way. It's like you got. It's like having like. I feel like it's cooler if you have like hentai on the screen and just make everyone have to watch that.
No, it just makes everybody uncomfortable. It's a power move. It's a power move.
power
Dude,
move,
I know
exactly.
a guy who recently
You
got
have like
introduced
Pusha
to,
T and like Pharrell in the studio, and it's just like, all right, let's get to work, boys. And it's just like some girl getting like railed in the ass.
And the side there, yeah.
Dude, I'm actually a little bit I'm a little bit pissed that his new glasses, like the Gap Yeezy glasses, are gonna be $20.
Is that good or bad that they're $20?
I'm a little bit pissed about this because everybody's gonna have it.
True. I mean, it's collab with the Gap though, so it's kind of what I would expect.
I'm a tiny bit pissed. I would prefer them to be like 400, but
the $400 Gap glasses.
it's actually crazy how ahead Yeezy was. Like when Yeezy first came out and he was doing like the ripped sweaters for like $3,000, everybody was so mad. And you know, monochrome, like earth tones, everybody's like, what is this? What is it? And then now it's like what every brand's trying to be. It's like ridiculous at the time.
You got to be a visionary.
But I was thinking about this when we were talking about like furniture and everything. I was thinking about architecture, and majoring in architecture is the worst route to go if you ever actually want to build anything. Like if you're an architecture student, you're basically signing on to poverty. You're never actually gonna fucking build anything. You're just gonna like be cucked at a firm.
Yeah, you're just making designs and no one's gonna follow your designs anyway.
Yeah, if you want to be an architect, you need to go literally anywhere else and make money, and then you can build whatever you want to build. Nobody will stop you. Like
That's true, actually. Yeah, you just got to be able to bankroll it yourself, or like even get people get like one of those like real estate funds to just like bankroll your shit. Just make whatever you want. I want to make a complex.
yeah, the only routes for being an architect is just, getting paid literally nothing at a shitty firm, or you know, helping government working for like the state or some shit like the government.
Did you guys? There was a pretty big thread that went around recently that was like a career architect outlining what it was like trying to get like a new building plan submitted to a state committee, and it was like
Just like bureaucratic hell.
yeah, it was basically just a 5-year long bureaucratic spiral.
Yeah.
And they would like intentionally or like they would write some sort of a guideline that was like 800 pages long, and then you would submit the design. They would say it failed based on the guideline. That he would come back and say, can you explain how or like what part of your 800-page guideline it failed? And they would respond 6 months later, after him like chasing them down, like doxing them, like coming to their house, standing outside being like, please respond to my email. They would respond and say like, no, sorry, like I can't, you have to figure out the guideline yourself. And then like
Yeah, do you think they even read the guideline themselves? It's like
They
no.
definitely didn't. They
No, no,
just
no,
tried to
no.
make
I
them
mean,
fucking.
they read like the 3 pages they wrote, but they didn't. And then they would say a bunch of stuff like he would suggest that they use like a 4-legged stool, and they would say like it's suggested that you use a 5-legged stool, and he would ask like, well, is it required or is this a suggestion? Because I like my design and I prefer it for these reasons, and if it's not required by any sort of ordinance, then I would like to move forward with it. And they would say like some very hand wavy type thing that kind of like implies if you don't do the 5-legged stool, you're fucked, and we're never we're never gonna move forward with your plan.
Jesus. Yeah, no, I've seen like, shows with like established architects and like, uh, guys. It's literally just like, yeah, don't become an architect. Get out immediately. There's no space for you. There's no room. You're never gonna succeed. Like that's like the summation of their advice.
Sometimes you got to blackpill the youth.
I've heard that about so many. I mean, if you ask any practicing lawyer right now, like, so what do you think about law? Like, there's about an 85% chance they say like don't go into this field. You ask a
Yeah.
doctor, I want to say now if they're in private practice, they're going to be kind of big up on it, but if they work at any sort of big public firm, it's like it's administration hell. Don't touch this
Yeah.
career path. Get the fuck away.
Yeah. Doctors have been forever blackpilled from COVID. Like
Yeah,
hospitals are fucking hospitals suck. When's the last time you guys were at a hospital?
I haven't been to a hospital in years. Like 4 years ago.
Like
Well, actually, no, I went there with you.
Minor surgery a while ago. And yeah, it was shitty. I mean, it was like the whole thing was just ridiculous in the sense that like you can tell there's like 87 things that they have to do to you as a priority for like wealth extraction, right? Like or like liability covering, right? Like the biggest and easiest example is there's a lot of times where like let's say you get a traumatic brain injury or you get like somebody whacks your head, right? And you have a concussion, and now traditionally people usually just fall asleep. Like the best way to recover is to fall asleep, but like if you go to the hospital with a concussion, they don't let you fall asleep. Like they keep nudging you and fucking around with you, and they make sure that you're awake, because like if you fall asleep and they're not watching you constantly, you could pass out while you're there and die. And it's like a very low chance that this happens, but like if it does happen, then they get hit with a big liability charge, right? So they have to do something that for like 98% of people is going to be detrimental to their recovery process, but covers their ass in the case of liability, right?
Yeah.
So
or like medical malpractice, like
yeah, and like when for my surgery, they so I basically was like it was a surgery that they usually do by putting people under general anesthesia, and I said like, hey man, like I don't want to fuck with that. Can you just do local? And they were like, oh, we don't usually just do local. And I was like, can you though? They were like, well, it might hurt, or and I was like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. You can do it though, right? And he was like, yeah, sure, as long as you're like willing to agree to it. So I did it, and then I'm about to go into the ER, and they're like, we need to put in your IV, and I was like, for what? And they were like, well, we just like to have it in there. And I was like, and it's just because like if something goes bad, like we have to be able to like quickly put stuff into you, right? And I was like, well, and I mean, I guess this is harder without clarifying the type of surgery, but it was like a very like if something goes wrong to the extent that they need to pump me full of any sort of medication, it's kind of a big question mark type scenario. Like, what the fuck have you done? Like, did you like trip with the scalpel in your hand? Like, there's no way that any of this should be happening. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess you're not going to put anything in me though, right? And they're like, oh yeah, no, right? So then we finish up with the surgery, and I asked the people like, can I see the list of medications that you've put into my IV? Because I know that they always keep that list and they hand it off. And I think it's funny to look at. And I was hoping it was going to be nothing, right? Because they said nothing. And so they have like a list of like 20 things. And I was like, so you said that it was going to be like nothing, right? Like I asked pretty specifically about this, and you responded to, and they were like, yeah, no, I mean, there's no like mood altering stuff here. It's just like, the standard medical battery for this. And I was like,
yeah,
there's like 5 different antibiotics and like just random shit, and you go through and like look at the list of the cost for all of this stuff and like what insurance gets billed for, and it's very clear that none of this is put in for any sort of like health reasons. This is just
you gotta ring the ticket up.
Right,
You got the insurance paying for it.
Health is not the biggest priority of these doctors. This is not getting sued. That's the chief priority.
100%, yeah.
It's not even the doctors that are the problem. Like, as far as I can tell, the doctors are all pretty like sane but black-pilled people. Like, occasionally you come across like the average legitimately evil doctor, but like I don't know if you've seen the graph of what like the medical profession looks like now in terms of actual practicing doctors versus administrators. And like administrators have had something fucking insane, like an 18 times growth in like the last 10 years or something. So there's just all of these
every doctor
layers.
is like black-pilled, like student debt at the wazoo.
That's
like,
what they did to universities. That's the only reason why college tuition is as expensive as it is, because it's like they had like a 20-fold increase of administrators in the last like 20-30 years.
Now I went to like this local doctor to get some like tests just to like check on my health, and you know doing tests, you know and then he's like, all right, we're gonna test your like lung capacity, and you know the whole time I have to wear a mask obviously. And he's like, okay, breathe into this pipe and, you know, blow really hard. And, you know, we're going to test your lung strength or something. And I'm like, okay, you want me to take off my mask? He's like, no, keep it on. I'm like, wait, like how does the machine work if my mask is on? It's like, oh, no. We adjusted the machine to account for the, you know,
to account for everybody's totally different masks that they all wear.
To account for the mask. I'm like, yeah, this test probably is not going to work, like, whatever. But then like logically, I sort of was like, okay, if I can still blow air through this mask, how is it even helping us at this point?
Yeah, that's the part that you ever seen that video? My favorite part of the whole mask thing was like I saw a video of like some dude in the fucking bodega, and he's just like the guy's like, put your mask on. He's like, listen, look, hey, listen, Ak, and he puts the mask on. And he fucking blows a lighter out with his mask on, and it's like, shut the fuck up.
I'm so glad COVID is over. I'm so glad.
It was so you know what? Ironically, it's like I know more people getting COVID right now, like a day or two after Biden's like the pandemic's over, which is fair because it's been over. It's just like it's just weird that they, I don't know. It's clearly that just because there's midterm elections, so there's like.
We solved it. We did it, folks.
Like their own narrative.
Joe Brandon's achievements while in office destroyed COVID. Check. Yeah. Accomplished.
Because like you know their whole thing was like, oh, in the winter it's worse because your immune system's down. So it's like, okay, in theory, but you guys kept it up all summer. I don't know. Fucking, it's cringe though. It was always cringe.
Biden never got his dark winter that he was hoping for.
Oh my god, that was really weird, man. That was a really funny, like schizo. I don't know what do you call those things where it's just like
mask off.
I'm almost saying it's like there's somebody in the Dem staffer room who's like intentionally putting these like schizo whistles into like Biden stuff.
Yeah, like he didn't write that. You know, he's not actually writing anything that he puts out.
Right, like somebody intentionally did that to like fuck with like the schizo right.
Oh, it's true. That's kind of like the guy who used to write for Tucker Carlson, who was clearly like a 4chan dude, and he was like fill Tucker's like monologues with like bass shit. And
yeah. It was like he would like allude to BAP or like Moldbug or something.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh shit, this is fucking Tucker was talking about this," but it was like a specific guy who was writing for them at the time.
I swear to God, I will die by this. When Elon went on Joe Rogan, he alluded to Hakan. Like, I swear by this.
Elon seems like a Hakan reader.
He repeated a Hakan take. I was like, oh, there it is. He's based, but it was literally just like
a couple times. One of the Weinsteins repeated talked about Zero's thread, and I was like, that was kind of cool.
The Weinsteins, they suck.
Yeah, they do suck, but it was so cool. Like he spent like 20 minutes talking about a thread that it was very clearly the Zero H.P. Lovecraft wrote.
There's a lot of. I saw some thread recently that was basically complaining about how all of the people on the right made like all of this brand new original political content, and then the GOP establishment just like totally ignored it and never they never promoted it or they never used it as like a base for any sort of like campaign or anything like that. And then like those same people on the right made like one meme, like they made the Dark Brandon meme, and like the entire Democratic political instrument instantly picked it up and amplified it. And all of the guys who made the Dark Brandon meme were like, fuck this, dude, I'm switching sides. At least these guys promote my content.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. That most recent speech that was like clearly Dark Brandon, like with the red and black lighting.
You could just like imagine these like staffers and like fucking PR team guys just in a room just like scrolling Twitter and just like fucking
this is gonna blow up.
Yeah, it's like, all right, this is a banger.
I literally don't understand. Like this has been really confusing to me though. Like if I am working in any sort of GOP staffer position, I'm literally like, it's all made for you, right? Like all of the content already exists. Maybe this is just my like prolific tweet stealer brain spinning on overdrive here, but like it literally, you just need to turn yourself into a content forwarding algorithm. It's so easy.
This is like what I had. They don't want. I feel like it's all of it's fake in a way, because like with back during the Yang campaign, he had the most like fucking organic following on the internet that like made his hats. Like I even messaged the campaign. I was like, bro, I've already made the hats and manufactured them. I'll send you the fucking hats. And they like denied me. You know what I mean? And they made some Reddit fucking math hat instead.
Yeah,
like,
you made a better hat of like the official hat.
Yeah, than they did. And it's just like you and I emailed them. I was like, I'll just fucking do it for you. I already got it down. And no, they're like, nope, we don't need this. It's like, why are you pushing away organic support? But it's because it's like it's all a ruse.
There's like, a lot of crypto projects that did the same too, actually.
Yeah. It's just like
a lot of people who were like, no, actually, like we disavow our community. You guys are being inappropriate. This is too much.
Oh, you know who did that recently? The glasses, the shades that we made blow up. What were those shades that Booba Hub was wearing?
Yeah, the Pit Vipers.
Oh yeah.
Crypto Twitter made those blow the fuck up.
And then Solana put their own ones out that were like worse instead of collabing with Pit Viper. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck, dude?
And then like Pit Viper like disavowed. They're like, oh, this is racism. The people who were promoting it, and everyone's like, how did you fucking ruin this?
Wait, was Pit Vipers a Booba Hub thing?
Yeah, that was definitely, we made that shit.
It was like Solana. It was like when Solana was pumping. Like, just I don't know where the meme started, but
it started
like
in Booba Hub because when we would all the Booba Hub people would put the Pit Vipers on their avatar. And that's
this is when I wasn't in Booba Hub. I remember this.
Oh yeah. And then like they made a video. I still have the video somewhere on my computer. So like once all the Booba Hub people, and there's a lot of followers there, put the Pit Vipers on, and then it just kind of like took off on crypto Twitter, and then Pit Vipers kind of just became a thing.
But and then Pit Vipers disavowed Solana, and then
wait, they disavowed Solana?
Yeah, they're like, because Solana put out like their clone. Instead of collaborating with Pit Viper, they put out their clone.
So I thought it was like before that. Like I thought Solana got disavowed and then they put out their clone. My timeline was screwy. I was like, that would be super funny.
And this was all around BTC Miami. I remember back in like 2021. So like it could have all just like exploded for them, but they wanted it to be cringe. I just don't understand getting rid of your own like grassroots support for any. Like if you have like that many people behind you, just fucking go double down.
There's like an overall disdain.
Never have like that much other support, right? Like it'll always be like a viral wave of support that is literally like 10 times greater than their existing customer base, and they are like, no, we have to stick to our roots. And it's like, why?
That's how they see themselves. They see themselves as the main guys, and the customers, they're just like the plebs. Like, well, they can't even have a good idea. We have the ideas. We're the leaders, but it's like, and they just like become cringe because
something like a resentful thing. Whatever guy's working on the fucking team is like, no, I'm not gonna use the idea. I have to use my idea.
Like this happens in fashion so often, where some kid will come out with like a design or whatever, and then like they'll like steal it. Like literally like 90% of fashion is like there'd be like a viral like Instagram trend of like some guy made this like cool sort of like new shoe, and then like the next season like you see it's all stolen by like some brand or whatever. It's like, oh, why didn't you just collab with the guy originally? It's like it's cheaper to just like steal it and then like
That's true. Yeah.
just say like fuck you, you're poor, you're not gonna like sue me, I dare you.
Yeah, like
You
what's
know?
the 40K fashion student gonna be doing for recourse realistically? Like he's already paying 38.5K for his New York studio apartment. He has $1,500 of disposable income a year. He's not going to use it to sue you.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely cheaper, yeah, just to steal it. And then and there's no like copyright battles with other brands, I guess.
Like the Russ of fashion, ASAP Bari. I remember he like DM'd my friend like, hey, I like your work, let's work together. And he's like, fuck you, like, no, just like you're just gonna fucking pay. It's actually ridiculous. Like New York Fashion Week just happened. It's ridiculous how like this works. Nobody's getting paid for anything. Like none of the models get paid. People actually have to pay
Wait,
to
really?
actually.
Yeah. It's all just like, we promise if we let you participate, it will.
They're paid in exposure.
Yeah, it will grow your
fuck
clout.
that. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
no, and it's like if you work in fashion, like you work for like Marc Jacobs or like some big brand, you're not getting paid. Like nobody's getting paid. Like the photographers, the models, like whatever. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get like a free T-shirt and like a goodie bag, like
That's
and
so
like
brutal.
and then clout. It's literally you get paid in clout. It's like New York Fashion Week. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be a model. It's like, cool. You know, you pay me. And this is also like one of the things with Epstein, where it's like, if you're a model in New York during Epstein's reign, you weren't getting paid for shit. Fucking, you might be on the cover of Vogue, but like, you're poor. And then like, your manager would be like, hey, Epstein and the gang is in town. They'll pay you like, fucking a year wage. Go have dinner with them and whatever. And like, the model managers would like send, their models to, Epstein and shit.
Yeah, I do remember like
that's where they got paid.
that makes sense. I do remember like my
Same with like rich guys. Like you can like order models. Like this for the models.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. When the models I did know, they mostly like they were like always having to go to like some like the Hamptons or some shit or some like boat party or whatever.
Yeah, go like a modeling agency. They're essentially like catalogs. Like, oh, I like that one. Send her over.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's I mean, so yeah, so it's basically just escorting.
Yeah. but it's like they're just like props, just like sitting around.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's hilarious. It's literally like the same thing as like the fucking, you go to a club, there's like the bottle girls that sit at your table, like, oh,
and half of the bottle girls are just failed models anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This is the same job.
That's crazy.
Being hot is the best job you can have.
In a way, it's also kind of like dark, I guess.
It's also like when, yeah.
I do remember I was always wondering why, like, I had this friend in high school that came to New York City and got like a modeling deal, and like she came back like a year or two later, and I was just like, why would you give that up? But now I'm like, and she's like, I guess it's smart because now she can eat food and shit, and she doesn't have to be like a hooker. So I now in hindsight, because at the time I was young, so I was like, I don't get it. But now in hindsight, I'm like, okay, you have self-respect. That's good.
Yeah, and like there's like a trend a while ago of like girls sort of being like, oh, I have my sugar daddy, da da da. But like that's like literally like the cringest thing you can do possible. It'll like ruin your reputation if you're like known as like this fucking basically prostitute with extra steps. Yeah. But like people were proud of that. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you don't.
There's this really weird thing where like a lot of the new people on the scene seem to not understand that like bragging about getting used by like a very high profile person, it doesn't actually, like it's not actually the play, right? Like you don't want to brag about the rapper DMing you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually trying to not vocalize. That's actually why I had to stop talking to some chick, because she was like bragging essentially about that the whole time we were hanging out, and I was like, who fucking cares? Like, how many people like he sent the same message to like 14 people.
Right. And like the thing is,
these guys have interns that use their account and just mass DM chicks.
That would be super funny. Imagine like outsourcing your like Tinder DMs to a secretary.
They basically do though.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, Ghislaine. Or like it's like the same thing actually in reverse. Like OnlyFans chicks. Like you're not talking to them after a certain point. Like you're talking to like
oh yeah, true.
employees.
You're talking to their chat moderators. That's
Their moderators. Yeah.
I've always thought about this. I've 100% of the time I've thought like I could like I know because if you read DMs between like any of these girls and guys, and it's like the girl isn't quite like she's not hitting the spot, right? Like she doesn't have that level of that specific quirk that the guy really wants. And I'm always sitting there being like, I could do this better. Like I could fucking nail it, bro. Like I could definitely close this deal in a way that this girl never could. If you teamed up, you put effectively my mind behind her pictures, it would be unstoppable. We would steamroll every man in America. We would drain their wallets. They would
remember that Patrice O'Neal bit where he's like what do you have to be to get a chick? You need to be charming, you need to be, you need to be funny, you need to be, fucking have money. It's like, you as a chick, you're not that. Like, why do I care about you? You're not charming. You don't have to do anything. Like, you're not interesting. Like, that's me. Like, what,
I bring that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're just like, like you just sit there and like you expect me to do all the work and like, yeah, like, I don't love you. Like, what do you say? It's like, I love, I have to love you because I'm charming. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. You love me because I'm charming. That's what that was like the bit.
Yeah. You love me.
Like, I make you love me or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then you have to like put in the effort, like mold these chicks, like, you basically find, I don't know, you find a fucking blank slate chick. You have to like prepare her to be interesting and cool. They like the full out the bat. They're just like,
I mean, basically
really,
right.
Whenever you see a chick that has like a personal identity of style or personality, it's like, yeah, that was your ex's fault. That was your ex's.
Oh, that's always so weird when you have like a chick who's like, you're like, your music taste is too specific and too male. Like you're like,
Yeah.
Bro, the funniest thing on Twitter specifically is you see a girl, you know that she gets into a relationship with a guy on here, like a poster, and then she starts posting shitty versions of his tweets, and then they break up, and then it still happens, and then she'll like go and she'll date another poster, but she keeps posting like the first guy, and you can tell the second guy isn't laying it down. Like, it's like the most open and blatant form of cuckoldry I've ever seen. There's like two specific examples I have in mind of this like same thing right now, and I can't say it obviously. One of the ones is because I guess I'm on good terms with one of the guys, the second guys, and we can't advertise that he's been like spiritually
cuckolded.
Yeah, he's been spiritually overtaken by the previous ex here. But it's really just such a wild thing too, because like, I mean, these girls aren't exactly smart enough to like copy it without it being obvious that they're copying.
Is it, fellas? Is it gay to date girls? I mean, you're essentially dating another guy's personality.
So good.
This is all what it comes down to, right? Like, this is what the desire for a pure virginal girl comes down to. It is the final heterosexuality of male.
Oh, that makes sense. It's not a sexual thing. It's about it's not like they've not been molded by someone else yet.
Yeah, it's about they don't want to have to resort to sleeping with another man.
Yeah, the only chicks that actually do have are actually interesting are fucking lesbians.
Yeah, see, that's actually the thing. The more of a personality they get, the more they become a lesbian, which is very interesting. The more lesbianism in reality is like individuality, and then it's so funny too, because like a chick, like if you ever listen to like the girls who think they're trans or like girls who think they're gay and shit, or they're always like essentially just saying like, I'm trans because I'm like I have agency. Like, you ever notice that? And it's like, are you like, I don't know. It's very interesting.
There is a lot of I don't know, like a lot of lesbianism, trans, etc. that I've heard, and when I ask the girls about it, it's essentially boiling down to like, I'm not, like, I don't want to be associated with femininity or other women or any of these concepts.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a total rejection, in the same way that like Bap had that segment where he's describing gays rejecting traditional masculinity because they were too perceptive, saying, oh, the gays don't suck, they're too perceptive. They knew that it's all a sham. Modern masculinity is a sham.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, yeah. That's like the high sensitivity boy who rejects masculinity.
That was such a funny part of the book.
That's the best part of the book. That's my favorite part. It also.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm one day going to write a book which is like 260 pages of just like pure obvious open cope about how gay is better, and it's just gonna be like me like trying to defend myself while also denying that I'm gay though, right? Like it's just gonna be upholding the superior virtue of homosexuality and like every other page I'm gonna just making it clear, by the way, like I'm not saying this out of my own homosexuality.
Lukas the male Paglia.
Hell yeah, like Paglia. That's what fucking Marx was too. He would do, but his was more like he was talking about being Jewish. And he was like, no, for real, he was like trying to like explain Jewish like cultural norms in a Western context.
It's like, listen, guys, listen. This like it's like this is what the Jews are doing. Like da da da. He's just like a fucking German guy.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
He was also a base gambler.
I appreciate a good base gambler.
No, just like my favorite right wing guys or whatever are like former leftists. Like my favorite right wing guys like went through like a Marx phase, where like they actually like read and understood Marx, because like
you got to.
Besides Communist Manifesto, you know, he has pretty good takes. Like
you got to go to. Well, actually, he's right about like class analysis stuff. It's just that.
Yeah.
I've always heard everybody who I trust to do the analysis on this stuff. I don't read any of this shit. I don't read anything other than like Russian breathing instructional manuals. But I've always heard everyone say that Marx got a good prescription of the problem and his solutions were just busted.
Yeah, and that's often the case, right? Like. Well, in fact, actually, the last thing I read as a leftist was a Noam Chomsky book. His book, Understanding Power, and he literally like outlines like the entire liberal order, and like outlines like the problem with leftism and how it's like useless and da da da. But his solutions like make a global fucking like union. And I'm like, all right, that's retarded. And I was like, I'm like, this is the best. Like everything he said was correct. I'm like, wow, this all follows. And his solution is just dumb. And I was like, okay, done.
Yeah. Same with Marx. It's like, oh, you have da 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 solution. Okay, communism. Yeah, no. And also,
I remember I had the same sort of like confusion when I read like Kaczynski's thing. Yeah. And I was like, he's making a lot of interesting points. I wonder what his solution is. And then he was like, all right, guys. So my solution is, we're going to destroy every computer in the world at the exact same time. It's like, I don't know.
I don't know. That seems a little bit excessive. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, no, that's kind of the thing though. Like with most books, it's just like usually the answer's wrong at the end, but like the analysis is the interesting part. That's the part that stands the test of time typically.
Yeah, I don't know. I always am accused of horribly misrepresenting people whenever I boil down their solutions. So maybe I am just coping for my own.
Bro, I get told this all the time, and you know, like in like chat, people get mad at me. I have to like fucking have like multiple hour discussions with people in DMs about like they're like you're straw manning my ideas. You're just misrepresenting me. I'm like, I don't know. You're just saying some like cope all day. And like I'm not even like it's always what I'm doing. It's always like a discussion that's so mundane, and I'm like, I don't know, you're just saying this, and then they're just like tilted forever.
No, this is what like Roger Ebert did. Is like he wouldn't even watch the movie. He'd just like read the synopsis, and then like his criticism would be like more interesting because he wasn't like influenced by the movie. Like he had like more original takes. Like if you only read half the fucking half the book, then you have a better take on it. If you like fully read it, because like, oh, I understand, I can you might have been right. Like letting another guy fucking live in your brain rent free and just like guiding your pens. Like no, like fuck
That's
you.
So awesome. That's such a power move. It's like fuck. I'm not even watching your movie.
There's a lot of arguments about this stuff where it's like somebody will tell me, no, like you've totally misinterpreted this person, and I'm like, that's fair. I never read it. And they're like, what? Like, you're going to argue with me? And I'm like, yeah, no, like I don't have like an especially strong attachment to this concept. It's not.
I've intuited his entire
position.
Yeah, his entire position. I just already know what he's about to say. It's like, no, you don't. It's like, yes, I do. It's like you can't argue. It's like, just no, you don't. Yes, I do. Yeah. there's no disproving it.
I heard their assumptions, and I can the premises follow logically. There, and it's just like I don't need to hear anything else.
It's also like I mean this line of like critique or whatever is almost like just insanely purely Reddit. Like if you ever try to engage in like legitimate fucking discussions or arguments in Reddit, you'll just get like fucking ratioed by some guy, just make some shitty fucking meme.
It's true, yeah.
And then like you'll be it's like, oh cool, why was I even trying to be serious in the first place? Okay, yeah.
That's the problem with internet debates, and I still find I'm always just confused. Like,
is it a bug or is it a feature?
It's definitely correct. It's like the feature for sure. Because I don't know, you talk to people online. I don't know, maybe it's just because I've been hanging out with the Teapot people, but like they still think that like this part of Twitter, like the Rune part of Twitter, where like you end up engaging with Egg and Robot and fucking Ayla. Though I hate that bitch, but like. They like still think that like you could be rational online and like have debates and like change people's minds about shit.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, you can't.
Like where have you been? Did you just get online last week?
Yeah, like you just started posting. Like what the hell? Like
you should have learned this lesson a long time ago. That
yeah,
like,
if you've never been like banned multiple times from like forums and whatever, then you don't really have a place among
there is
posters.
like a cumulative like through your various reincarnations over the internet, getting banned on like all of these different forums and stuff. I mean, for me, it was like everybody started posting off in somewhere different. I got banned from like V Bulletin forums, right? Like hobbyist forums, and that was where
what do you mean is that?
Huh?
It's like message boards, like
V Bulletin. Never heard of it.
Yeah, V Bulletin is just like
no, yeah, no, V Bulletin. Yeah, it's like the standard.
Yeah, the standard message board.
Yeah.
And like, if you've never gone through that process and realized, like, because I mean, you can stay around forever and you can rise up through anything as long as you like tactically suck the system's dick in some way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
but
also like
you
Twitter.
You go out thinking that everything is like really nice and fair and stuff, and you're just going to have like reasonable argumentation with people, and you just get like shit on at some point.
Yeah. You can definitely tell when someone like grew up on like real like the deep internet versus like Facebook internet. There's just some lessons that just haven't like got to yet. They're not deep.
It's really funny. Like when I was like growing up, my parents were like, "Don't post your photo online. Don't like don't talk to strangers." Da da da. I'm like, okay, never post my photo online. I don't really have much in terms of in IRL. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I realized how base it is later. But then fast forward, my parents are doing this all, they're like posting everything that they're doing, updating all their statuses on Facebook. Da da da. I'm like, you didn't even take your own advice. Like,
I know so many fucking people who literally wiped their entire internet presence totally off the face of the earth, only to be like turbo fucked by their parents, who like post and tag them in like 37 pictures every family gathering. So like they would literally be like undoxable people, and then like they have their entire account blown open because grandma insisted on tagging them and everything.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I remember having this moment. Actually, funny enough, Justin TV, the guy who made Twitch, it was because of him. And back in because my name is really unique, so it's so easy to find me on the internet. And he basically was like, okay, either you have to make a decision. Either you got to be undoxable and just like have nothing online, or you just have to fucking flood the internet with so much information that it's like hard to find anything useful. And that's what Justin TV did. He just like
that's what we're doing here.
Yeah,
you're in the process of the information flood. You're being swept away by the tide.
Yeah, it's a CIA tactic, info dumps, right?
Yeah. It is definitely I'm just fucking like, how many podcasts, if you really wanted, there's so much information you could piece together from all my podcast appearances, but it's too much.
It's so funny it's also the idea of somebody.
Okay, so thanks for listening. This is again where one of the audio moments happened, and similar to last week, where there was a disconnection. So I'm just gonna use this as a natural stopping point. The final part will be released. The final and the longest part actually will be released later this week, actually, just because why make you guys wait? And thanks for listening. Again, follow me, Lukas, and Jimbo on Twitter. Links to those are in the description. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.